the Maxell M827E camshaft. I'm hoping that I don't lose my damn mind doing this job. With 1 year still left on it, I'm getting ready to void the warranty. Sometimes things just don't happen the way you're expecting them to happen. Bike's loaded on the trailer. What's up? Jim here. Welcome back to J Street Moto. Welcome to the channel if it's your first time. You know, I think at a certain point we all realize that things don't go according to plan all the time. And that's kind of what happened with my Stage 2 build that I was doing myself. When I started this Stage 2 journey that I was on with my 24 Road Glide, I decided the way that I was going to capture it, I would give y'all a video about how I picked the parts and what parts I selected, and then I would do a video showing the installation. Not an educational video, but more just letting you see basically a baboon that has opposable thumbs and knows nothing about engines putting a cam in a motor. I was going to take you with me to get it tuned, let y'all see that process, show you the dyno numbers as well as the test results after I did my 4th gear pull from 40 to 100 and compared it back to my stock bike. That was the plan. As with most things in life, nothing goes according to plan. So I figured what I'd do instead is do a ride along, because my bike's back and I haven't ridden her in a week and a half. I need to do the test run. So I figured, what the hell? Why not do a vlog and kind of drop in sections of each of the things that I've recorded over the past 12 days to kind of bring you along on my Stage 2 build journey. On the day that I did the build, Friday, 12 days ago. I'm both excited and a little nervous about today. So I'm finally getting ready to do what I've been planning for a while and put a cam in my 24 Road Glide. But it also means that with 1 year still left on it, I'm getting ready to void the warranty. I should probably tell y'all what I'm putting on the bike. I decided to go with the Maxell M827E camshaft. This is from Jim's V-Twin Performance. He's a local guy here in Mooresville. I also bought his lifters, and they have been pre-charged and soaking for a day and a half. I've got the S&S cam install kit, which includes a bearing. I have the black S&S quickie push rods and tubes. I bought black tappet covers because I want to black as much of the bike out as I can. I got the S&S lifter cuffs, or tappet cuffs, whatever you want to call them. And of course I already had the Trask air cleaner on there, but I pulled that off. I'm going to be putting on a Chromeworks 2-in-1 Outlaw exhaust, also blacked out. That's what's going on the bike today. This is the first time I've ever done something like this. So I made a list. This is everything that needs to happen for the build from start to finish in order. It's not like down to the remove this bolt kind of thing. Some of the line items on here are like remove the saddlebag and pull the main fuse. That's a line item. Make sure bike's in 6th gear. I wrote it the way I needed it, I think, to be able to do this job without losing my mind or without breaking anything. I ended up with a total of 67 steps. I should say this too, because I'm not a mechanic, I've read a lot about this process. I've talked to the mechanics that I do know, the Harley technicians that I do know. I've talked to the builders that I do know to get their advice on how would, what's the best advice you can give someone that's doing this for the first time. I have done all that, and I've watched a boatload of videos. There's a ton of videos on YouTube that show you step by step how to do this job. I don't want to recreate that, so I'm not going to recreate that. I'm going to tape a couple of things here and there where stuff might get a little squirrely for me. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit as I'm doing the job about Jim's V-Twin, Jim specifically, and that product, and kind of where he's from, a little bit of his history and background. I had the 360 camera up recording the entire time, and then I time-lapsed all of that. And then periodically, if there were things that were like, oh, other people have said watch out for this, but they hadn't said watch out for something that I ran into, I recorded it. So I'm just going to kind of drop in those things right here. All right, so in a lot of the installation videos you're going to see, they tell you got to heat up the bolts that hold the lifter cuffs in order to break them free because they're prone to snapping. They got a lot of thread locker on them. I didn't have that problem, but I did find that I needed to use heat on these 2 tappet cover bolts in order to be able to break those free. Just something different than what I'd seen in any of the others. And yes, I am going to clean all this off. Here's where we're at. We have replaced the inner cam bearing. Everything is out of there, and we're getting ready to start reassembly. A couple things to note, or that you might want to consider. Get ball head Allens, because those Allen head bolts that are at the back side of the tappet covers, the ones closest, more inboard on the bike, closest to the motor, are a pain in the ass to get out and to get back in and torque. But I did want to take a minute and show you guys kind of the difference between the stock cam and the cam that I'm putting in there. Here, this is the best shot I can give you right here, is looking down. So you see how close they are? You can barely see the lobes to this one. That lift is significant, and the duration is really, if I had to guess, it might be twice as long. I'm not going to measure it, but it might be twice as long. I did want to show that. I wanted you to see kind of the difference. If you're new to this like I was and don't really know anything, I didn't know a whole lot about I knew how it worked, but I didn't really know a lot of things. So when I'm researching cams and I'm hearing terms like lift and duration and overlap and all that stuff, I really didn't understand what they were talking about. Makes a lot more sense now to me because of the research that I did, but also looking at a cam, you can see, holy shit, now I get what they mean by there's more lift, and now I get what they mean by duration. So I thought I'd share that with you in case you were like me and didn't know. Now you do. If you did already know, tell me if I screwed it up. Let's talk about Jim real quick for a minute, specifically Jim's V-Twin Performance. Jim is a retired engineer. He worked for years in the racing industry. For those of you not familiar with the Charlotte, North Carolina area, we're one of the racing capitals in the US. There are a lot of race teams that are headquartered within I'd say 20 miles of where I'm standing right now. Jim is an engineer that retired from that industry, and he used to design engines. So when Jim retired, he started coming up with new designs for cams for American-made motorcycles. That's where the Maxell brand comes from. This camshaft that I'm getting ready to put in the bike, while it might not be widely known among us riders, especially people that are like me, not building motorcycles, I'm just kind of riding them, I might not have heard of him had it not been for talking to people that are in the industry. Builders know this guy. I'm interested to see how this really affects the performance. I truly am. Everything's buttoned up. When I went to take my Chromeworks exhaust out of the package, I found out it was the wrong exhaust. The ways that I knew it was the wrong exhaust was the holes for the O2 sensors were in the wrong location. They would not fit with the bike. And the head pipe itself, the opening, the gap between the front and rear cylinders was a ½ inch smaller than what comes stock. So there's no way it's going to fit on the motor. The guy that I bought my parts from, which is also the guy that I tuned the bike with, who did a fantastic job. I can't speak highly enough of Rick Green at Southeast Customs. He was like, yeah, I must have ordered the twin cam ones by mistake. So I got the wrong exhaust, meaning the bike is put together with a new cam in it, but I don't have the exhaust. Rick, damn, he he went above and beyond. He ordered me exhaust that I could get there quicker, but it was going to be chrome. So I told him, I'm like, well, look, if the exhaust is in, I don't care if I'm running around with stainless steel pipes. I can come back later and pick up the heat shields. I want to ride the bike. Really what I wanted to do was make sure I didn't screw anything up when I tore the engine open and put a cam in it. Because I didn't know. I hadn't started the bike. I hadn't even turned it over. The only thing I had done was, rotate the rear tire, and it was behaving and acting the same way it was before I tore it open. When I was finding the top dead center on both cylinders so that I could cut the push rods. As I had voided my warranty, at least on the motor, I was like, I'd like to make sure that I didn't screw something up and that everything works. So I went out there yesterday. We tuned the bike. I'll drop recordings in of, I recorded when the first start of the bike. Also recorded us priming the oil pump. Now that was a tip that Rick and that another mechanic and a Harley tech had told me. So they had suggested that I turn the motor over without its ability to fire in order to prime the oil system. And so we did that at the shop after one of Rick's techs
put the exhaust on for me. I'll be completely candid with y'all. I did every part of this installation except for bolting on the new exhaust. That's the only thing I didn't do, was put the exhaust on, and of course I didn't tune it. And then we spent some time getting the TTS tuner that was going on the bike flashed with all the right stuff. And then we started the bike for the first time, and I'll drop that video in right here too, so that y'all can hear the first start.
Gonna start it for the first time. We've already kind of primed the oil pump. Nothing sounds bad.
On a base map, she was running okay. I probably could have gotten out and ridden her without hurting the motor at all. It wouldn't have been crushing any milestones, wouldn't have been, you know, blowing any records, but it would have held together and ridden fine. Then we went in and got it tuned. Now, I will say this, if you're gonna get a motorcycle tuned, do your research. Rick's good. He's good at pulling everything he can out of the motor configured the way that it is, or with what you've put on it. So I suggest if you're gonna get your bike tuned, you research your tuners. Don't just go to somebody because they got a dyno. A tune on one of these bikes isn't done in like an hour and a half. It's gonna take some time for them to truly dial it in. And what I mean by truly dial it in, at least with TTS, I don't know about the others, with TTS, when you're tuning it, there's a chart that comes up and there are cells, and the way the cells go is throttle position in percentage by RPM, engine speed, engine RPM. And you have to hold a certain throttle position at a certain RPM long enough for the data to be recorded from the wideband O2 sensors to make sure that your air-fuel ratio is correct, the way that the tuner wants it. It's an art form is what I'm trying to tell y'all. It's about maxing out torque and maxing out horsepower while maintaining a reliable motor. That's the reality of it. A good tuner can make that happen. The cam that I put in it, the Maxell 827E and the Maxell lifters, Jim over there at Jim's V-Twin Performance, if you happen to be watching this video, you're a genius. This cam does exactly what I wanted it to do. I wanted to be able to rip the throttle and not feel a difference in torque the entire way until I bang the rev limiter. That's what I wanted, and that's what I got. I will go ahead and tell you, well, I'll throw them up right now, and I'll tell you the numbers. Dude, nice. I'll do them both ways because Rick was like, yeah, you know, just we'll print them out both ways, STD and SAE.
So I'll show you the SAE first. And sorry, the sheet's wrinkled because I didn't have my saddlebags on the bike, so I had to kind of fold it up and stuff it in my glove box. This is the SAE numbers. The max torque was 132.69 at 3,250 RPM. Max power was 125.83 horsepower at 5,960 RPM. For the STD, max torque was 135.58 at 3,250 RPM. Max horsepower was 128.57 at 5,960 RPM. Those are the numbers that ended up coming out of the dyno. And that flat torque curve right there that hits early and kind of hangs out almost all the way to the red line, that's what I was looking for.
So where the peaks were, it was the same in the RPM band. The only difference was how much. The numbers don't mean shit. They really don't. What matters is how quick am I on the road? What I do put a lot of weight on is the tests that I created for this build, where I'm in 4th gear, sport mode on the bike. I start at 40 miles an hour, which is 2,000 RPM. I open the throttle wide open and I hold it open until I hit 100 miles an hour and then I shut it off. I do 2 runs of it. I take an average of the 2 runs and compare that to the average of the 2 runs I did before when the bike was stock, because that's going to be the thing that really tells me what kind of performance improvement did I get. We're getting ready to be where we need to be to test the bike. Oh, I'm really looking forward to this. I gotta tell you, this bike is freaking mean, guys. I'm not kidding. All right, here we go. 4th gear pull. First one, get down 40 miles an hour. That was 1. Okay, we're gonna do a 4th gear pull right here. 2, 1, go. There we go. I have to wait to find out what the results were. You guys do not. You guys just saw the test results of the 40 to 100 mile an hour pull after I got the cam done. A couple days after I wrapped everything up with the bike, I had to take a trip up to Virginia, and it was going to be, it's about 375 miles one way, and I had decided I was going to go up, do what I had to do, and then turn around and ride back. And that would be a good test for the bike. So that's what I'm doing today. And I thought that since you just saw the speed results and how quick the bike was relative to stock, I'd let you know that even with that, even with the torque and horsepower improvement that I got, with all of the performance improvements, I'm still averaging 44.4 miles to the gallon. I'm ecstatic about it, honestly. I don't know any other word for it. I am ecstatic about the performance of this bike. I tour on this motorcycle, so for me, range matters, and the only way to get range out of a bike is with fuel efficiency. And the fact that this bike can behave and perform the way it does and still get 44.5 miles to the gallon is unreal to me. It truly is. I'm very pleased. I'm extremely happy. It's a different motorcycle. I'm going to get back to the video and let y'all watch the rest of it. Rick did a fantastic job of educating me on what he was doing. I really learned a lot. I truly did. It was an amazing experience. I'd never been in a dyno before. I certainly never had someone tell me kind of what they were doing. But that's it. I decided to do something outside my comfort zone and tear into my motor, change some parts. I was able to do it. Can you do it? Yes, you can. So anyway, thanks for watching. If you got questions, drop them in the comments or send me an email. I'll put it down here, jstmoto22@gmail.com. Be happy to answer any of your questions. Do me a favor. Like, subscribe, click notification bell, share it with your friends. All that stuff is absolutely free to you, and it does help the channel. Always ride safe. Yeah, ready? 1, 2, 3, shoot. Ah. Asshole.
Really? Peace out, bitches!